I just can't see them.
Okay, it's 7:29. We are recording on the cloud and we're streaming on the YouTube channel. So as soon as it's 7:30, you could.
Ryan Hawley. Hi, Ryan.
All right.
Sharon, you said Mike is with 52 Mary Brook?
Mike is with 52 Mary Brook.
32.
Yeah, 32 Mary Brook. He's with Black Wolf, yeah.
Okay. And Nat?
I don't see Ryan on here.
Ryan's there.
Oh, yeah. What is going on with my computer? I see him, but I don't have his. Interesting.
He's torturing us. He's drinking a Starbucks.
Just water.
Oh,
Oh, there you are. Okay, I got you now.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, Ryan.
I'm gonna
And-
leave you here.
And just,
I'm getting the sense that if you say something, your screen will come up here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, we got Ryan now. Okay.
Yeah, we have 8.
Ryan and Neil.
Good
Who's
evening.
Ron?
We see Neil.
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, he disappeared. Ron, who's Ron?
Oh, Ben hasn't gotten on yet either, so.
He must be with an applicant.
For Ron and for Nat Mundy, 2 petitions have been withdrawn tonight. Sugar Hollow Land Development and RT
So when you speak, they'll hear you.
AAR Active Residential Floating Zone. So if you're for BRT or Sugar Hollow Land Development, they've been withdrawn tonight.
Here comes Candace.
Ed, I'm with SST Motor Cars.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Candace Fay is logging on now.
Not sure why.
Mr. Mershon, we already got a call from Mr. Mazzy, so I'm going to put you in for Mr. Mazzy tonight.
Great.
Nelson,
Complicated.
Sounds good.
They're withdrawn. We can listen.
Here comes Candace back in again. I don't have her on audio or video.
she's connecting to audio now, it says.
Yeah, no.
One, two.
I'm here.
I'm just gonna mute Jim and see if that's it. Okay. Yeah, I just muted Jim Kelly just because I'm getting some feedback.
okay.
And we lost Candace again.
So we got 9. We can start up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, as soon as we get Candace, that we can hear her.
Oh,
Otherwise, you got 8.
okay.
Oh, maybe this is her coming in on an iPad.
Not her, Candace Block. And then there's somebody coming on with an iPad.
I'm gonna see who this is.
Okay.
Looks like Candace says iPhone and
Yeah.
Candace Fay is.
Yes.
And then the other
I don't know
Candace
what-
is.
The other Candace, I'm going to shut because it's not detecting at my microphone.
Okay,
Only one Candace.
only one Candace. Gotcha.
Isn't that enough?
That's too bad. There should be more.
I'm sure one is plenty for most people.
Okay, yeah, you got 9, Ted.
All right.
All right. Do we know anything about iPad yet?
iPad. Oh,
No?
Let me just see.
And then we got a Jason. So let me say to Jason, iPad, if you're here for Sugar Hollow Land Development or BRT Sconset for the residential floating zone, they have been withdrawn. Okay. All right. So
oh, Jim has the video working now.
Hi, Jim.
Jim, you look great.
Okay, Jim, you got to unmute yourself. Hit the mute button. Unmute.
Here comes Kath.
Kathy will fix
Okay.
it.
I'm going to ask who this iPad is so I can.
Hi, Kath. Thank you.
How are you?
We
Yep, you're good. We got you now. Hi, if you're logged in and you see yourself as iPad, can you just identify who you are? You have to unmute yourself. Okay. Oh,
Hi,
there
my
you
name's Chris. I'm from 45 Eastgate in Danbury.
go. Okay, Chris, if you're here regarding, you want to go through that?
Hi.
I did hear that.
Oh, okay,
Oh, okay.
Thank-
All right.
okay.
So why
I'm
don't,
just going to mute you for the moment.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay.
all right, well, let's begin. What time is it? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Zoning Commission of the City of Danbury. Let the record show I'm going to begin with a roll call at 7:36 p.m. This is a Zoom meeting, and I'll talk about that in a couple seconds. Mr. Almeida, Commissioner Fay,
Present.
Commissioner Hawley,
Here.
Commissioner Helinski,
Present.
Commissioner Jowdy,
Here.
Commissioner Kelly,
Here.
Commissioner Malillo,
Here,
Commissioner Mazzy called and is absent. Commissioner Henry is absent. Commissioner Nejam is absent. Commissioner Marchand.
Here.
Mr. Marchand, can you sit in for the entire evening for Mr. Mazzy?
Yep.
Thank you very much. The next regularly scheduled meeting is August 11th, 2020, and there's a good possibility that's going to be Zoom also, I'm sure, quite sure. As far as procedure goes tonight, it's going to be run just like a regular zoning meeting, except we may run a couple little pieces slow to look for hands. I may repeat myself a couple times if I see new people to let them know on the withdrawals for this evening so they can get about their business and don't have to feel ball and chain to this meeting tonight. The meetings have been properly posted on city websites. There's also a live showing of this on YouTube. You cannot ask questions on YouTube. And also throughout this procedure, people have been able to email in questions, concerns, and letters for the record, which has taken place and which we do have. If they apply for tonight's open hearings or open petitions, we'll read them. And for some of the others that have been withdrawn, it's not necessary. Let's go right to the June 23rd, 2020 minutes. I guess they have been amended. Thank you, Mr. Malillo.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as amended. I'll explain the amendment in a second under discussion, as all members have received copies and they've been placed on file.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malillo. There's a motion to accept the June 23rd minutes as amended by Mr. Malillo. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Fay. Ms. Malillo, discussion.
Yeah, just real quickly, under the amendments and the roll call, it had mentioned that Mr. Haddad was going to be joining us a little bit later. That was from the earlier meeting. The meeting before that, it just was deleted. And then I asked that the word can, I think, be added onto the end of the BRT public hearing. So it said that noted that the time can be used. That word was omitted. Those are just two minor amendments to the minutes.
Well, Mr. Malillo, thank you very much for spotting that and for pointing it out. Is there any other discussion? Any other comments? Motion made with the reason for that by Ms. Mello, second by Ms. Fay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
There is nothing I see that's in opposition to that, so that the minutes have been accepted unanimously. I'm going to read that the following petition, which was scheduled for a public meeting, is withdrawn, and that's a petition of Sugar Hollow Land Development LLC to amend 6A2B and 6A5 of the zoning regulations, in parentheses, add sale, rental, or repair of automobiles and trucks to the IL40 zone as a special exception. It was submitted in May. I have a copy dated July 21st, 2020, from Attorney Robin Cohn Wolf, Mr. Dear Chairman Haddad, regarding petition to amend zoning regulations, Sugar Hollow Land Development. By this letter, I am hereby withdrawing the pending petition to amend the zoning regulations for which a public hearing is scheduled for July 28th, 2020. So that has been withdrawn. Also, I'm going to mention it one more time, and then when we get to it, I'll read the letter in. But anybody here for BRT Sconset, the active adult residential floating zone, that has been withdrawn also. First public hearing this evening is an application from SST Motor Cars LLC, 52 Myerbrook Road, F19049, for a certificate of approval of location for an upgrade from used motor vehicle dealer's license to new motor vehicle dealer's license in the IL40 zone per variance granted by Zoning Board of Appeals on April 11th, 2013. To some commission members, this is going to be a new petition, I think, for some of you, but it's an interesting one because it does have.
Oh, we just lost Ted for a second.
We've lost Mr.
Mr.
Haddad.
We did. Let's see if he reconnects.
I'm gonna mute and call him. Just he may not know that he dropped the connection.
Yeah, that's fine. Ricky's on. We can take a break. Right, Ricky?
Wow, he's like frozen.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna come back in. Yeah.
Go inside. I can't take you out right now. Go inside.
Joanne, you talking to your husband again?
In here whining at me. She's got these pathetic eyes, and she's like, woo, woo, woo.
Okay, let's see if we get Teddy back in here. For those watching, we lost the chairman. He's coming back in.
Lost him.
It's a new era.
Okay, Ted is Chairman Haddad is rebooting his computer. He actually said that it was okay if Attorney Marcus wanted to begin the presentation. Mr. Haddad will be with us momentarily.
Well, I think I need to read the legal notice. Looks like Neil might be frozen too.
Oh, yes.
No, I'm just sitting still listening.
Oh, shucks. I thought you might be frozen. Let me read
Actually,
the
I just
legal
bumped up
notice.
the AC. It was a little cold in here.
Okay, I'll read
Karen,
the.
why don't you read the legal notice and then hopefully Ted will be back.
Okay, so this is item number 1 under public hearings, application of SST Motor Cars LLC, 52 Myerbrook Road, F19049, for a certificate of approval of location for an upgrade from used motor vehicle dealer's license to new motor vehicle dealer's license in the IL40 zone per variance granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals, April 11th, 2013. Legal notice, application to be heard by the Zoning Commission at public hearing, web-based meeting hosted on Zoom on July 28th, 2020, 7:30 PM. Agenda to be posted will include instructions to access the Zoom meeting and application materials. Pursuant to Executive Order 7I, Section 19C, notice is hereby given that the following petitions will be heard. Public hearings, petition of Sugar Hollow Land Development LLC. I'm not going to read that. That's been withdrawn. Application of SST Motor Cars LLC, 52 Myrey Brook Road, F19049 for a certificate of approval of location for an upgrade from used motor vehicle dealer's license to new motor vehicle dealer's license in the IL40 zone per variance granted by the ZBA, April 11, 2013. An application of North American Motor Company 32, Myrey Brook Road, F19017 for a certificate of approval of location for a general repairs license in the IL40 zone, sent to the town clerk on July 9th, 2020, affixed with the signature of the chairman, Theodore J. Haddad, Jr. So I would say, if you're ready to go, Neil, just so that let the record show that Chairman Haddad is not yet back in. So we have 8 at the moment.
Okay, we'll proceed. Thank you. For the record, Neil Marcus, Cohen & Wolf PC at 158 Deer Hill Avenue on behalf of the applicant. Just by way of background, some of you may know that a company called Scudiera Cameron Glickenhaus LLC, referred to as SCG, has located its assembly plant in Danbury at the Danbury Airport. So for the old timers around, you might recall that there's a round building on the corner of Myrey Brook Road as you go by what's referred to as the glass hangar or the old Myrey Brook Schoolhouse, which is now the Civil Defense Building. But in the back there in the corner is a round building that was built for the Macton Corporation many years ago, and they used to make industrial turntables. That building was purchased about a year ago, actually, a year and a half ago, by the Glickenhaus group to locate their SCG assembly plant. And again, I'm going to invite you, when you're finished, to go online and Google the SCG car, because it's an amazing vehicle. It's the company has a limited license from the US government that oversees the manufacturing of automobiles. They can manufacture up to about 350 of these cars a year for sale. And basically the car is I'll call it a street qualified race car. It is a very, very high-tech vehicle that has won some international races on the course. And Jim Glickenhaus, who's really the mover behind this, is well known in the automotive industry as a collector of some very fancy cars. So they chose Danbury to assemble this car. We went through the planning department and got them approved, and they're in the process of opening up. They spent some time renovating the building, and now they're opening up. That's just by way of background as to who SST is. You know them, again, on the other side of the same corner. SST is a very high-tech auto tuning company. Basically, they take care of race cars, and they improve their performance, and that's what they've done. And they've been located there for a number of years. And a few years back, they got a variance to allow them to sell used cars, but the variance actually allows them to just sell cars. Their original plan was to sell vehicles that came through their shop, and people who wanted to offer them to other aficionados who would find them on their premises. They would be allowed to essentially sell the cars. Similarly, they're going to do the back shop work for SCG for the dealership that's before you this evening. So the facility where SST currently exists is not going to change. The new car dealership will have room for about 3 cars in that building because these are such limited production cars that in reality, if they can manufacture at this point, starting up 50 to 100 cars a year, that's a high rate of production. But my clients are now looking to be basically the dealer for those cars that are being assembled across the street. Now, some of you may recall that in Connecticut, Tesla has been, at odds with the state over whether Teslas can be sold because Tesla doesn't have any dealers. Tesla wanted to sell cars directly as a manufacturer. The Glickenhauses aren't doing that. The Glickenhauses are going to sell these cars through a series of dealers who are essentially car brokers, because you're not going to find very many people. Actually, you're not going to find any people that are going to stop by on a Friday afternoon at this facility. They'd like to test drive a new SCG. First of all, these cars are going to sell anywhere from a minimum of about $250,000 up to slightly in excess of $500,000. They are really high-priced vehicles, and their appeal is to a very limited group of customers. What my client intends to do at this location is basically he'll broker those vehicles. He will make appointments, and when Rick Jowdy wants to stop by and drive one of these, he'll make an appointment, and that's where he'll be able to take the car out. If the car is sold, it's sold from that location. It's a new dealer. It'll be serviced by the existing shop, which is the SST Motors that has been there for a number of years. So the site plan that is currently in place is not going to change whatsoever. Cars are not going to be stored on a lot like you would up on Federal Road or over at Colonial Subaru or whatever. That's not how they do it. There'll be 1 or 2 cars, maybe 3 on the site, and they'll all be indoors because these cars are just really too expensive to leave outside. So in order to get the dealer's license from the state of Connecticut to sell these, obviously, we needed to come to this commission to expand the dealership license that we currently have. Essentially, when you go to the facility tomorrow with the license, as opposed to today without the license, it'll be exactly the same. The only difference is that tomorrow with a license, you could probably see and arrange to test drive a car, the SCG. So it's not a high impact operation at all. There are not a great deal of employees. Basically, there'll be 1 or 2 employees on site, but they'll be there sporadically. They're not going to be there full time. But essentially, it's a location from which the state of Connecticut can grant a license to the applicant so that these cars can be legally sold and serviced. So that's it. I mean, it's nothing new for the city in terms of facility, but as I said, it's the most exciting thing to happen at the Danbury Airport since the Doman Helicopter Company came there in 1949. And I'm probably the only one at the meeting tonight who could probably remember that even occurred. They left Danbury Airport sometime around 1956 or 57. But for those of you who care, they had a big facility, a hangar, which is right now which would be behind Weeks Automotive on that end of the airport. But anyway, this is exciting for Danbury, which interestingly enough has become a location for car collectors. There are a number of car collectors who store cars, both at the SST site and across the street at one of the Wibbling buildings. And then, of course, you've got Josh Weeks' Audi facility virtually in the same neighborhood. So this little section of Danbury has become a mecca for very high-end automobiles. And with the manufacturing at the old Macton plant, this is just a natural to be able to go across the street and test drive and purchase the vehicles. And it's, I mean, for me, it's exciting because I love to see, first of all, I love cars. Second of all, I love to see Danbury on the map for new types of manufacturing. And again, a lot of people don't know about the SCG, but if you get a chance, go online and look at it, and you'll just be kind of blown away about the quality of these vehicles. And they're very unique. So that's the request. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question, if you may.
Attorney Marcus, Mr. Melillo.
Yes, Attorney Marcus, the ZBA stipulation caps their sale at 5 cars. So you had indicated they're not gonna be many cars, new ones for sale on any given basis anyway. But are they planning on still selling the used cars? And if so, are they gonna limit the used cars so they don't have an issue with having too much stock, so therefore they won't be able to sell one of the newer cars?
The answer to your question is yes, that they are going to limit. At the moment, they don't sell many used cars from the site. As I say, all of these things are very pricey, unique specialty cars. But we don't expect that that more than 5 cars would be offered for sale. We expect that we'll have 2 or 3, and then on the used cars, there are only 2 or 3 of them as well. So we'll basically stay within the limits of the variance that we were granted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Melillo. Thank you, Attorney Marcus. Are there any other questions at this time for Attorney Marcus, commission members? Mr. Jowdy.
Neil, you're looking to amend the regulations from used cars and add new cars. So if that is done, then you amended the regulations and we could have a car dealership there, couple, and we could start doing new cars over there for anyone in that area, correct? Or
No.
maybe,
No, we're not looking to amend any regulation. This is allowed because of a variance to the regulation, which, interestingly enough, the variance doesn't distinguish between new and used cars. There's a variance to sell cars there because our zoning regs either allow car sales or don't allow them. They don't distinguish between new and used. However, the only reason I'm doing this is the license from the DMV is limited to used cars. And I want to expand my DMV license to new cars. As far as the variance that goes, we're not changing the language at all. And no other new car dealer can open up based on our variance.
do you agree with that, Sharon?
Yeah, this is not, this application has nothing to do with amending the regulations. That was an earlier petition that has now been withdrawn.
Yeah, but by the
Okay.
way, I'm familiar with that, Rick. That was the Robin Kahn, my partner, who petitioned, and then we withdrew that. But no, this is completely separate and apart from that.
Okay,
Mr. Jowdy, if it helps, this is kind of to put it in a scenario where you might understand. It's like increasing from a restaurant beer and wine to a restaurant liquor license. You're going from a lower license to a more extensive license. That's all it is.
good point.
That's a pretty good example, Bob. I agree. That's a pretty good example.
Did we lose Ted?
We
did.
did.
We
lose him
did.
again.
I
Mr.
have,
Jowdy,
Mr. Jowdy, you might want to, I have a question, Mr. Vice Chair, if I could.
Okay,
Neil,
Yes, ma'am.
so the intent is to keep the original license intact, which is the used car and general repairs?
That's
Or
correct.
you're replacing that with the new one?
No, this is an addition. This is, so we'll be able to, I mean, the repair is separate and apart from sales, but they'll be able to sell both new and used cars at the site. But these are all, but limited to what the variance allowed. We're not looking for a large inventory or.
Right, so,
or-
okay, so just so that everybody's clear, the variance in 2013, just, it said to allow sales of automobiles in conjunction with an accessory to the existing automobile repair facility per the plans. The stipulations are that no more than 5 vehicles may be offered for sale at the premises at any given time. Any for sale vehicles must be stored inside the building.
Right.
And no additional lighting and no signs shall be erected related to automobile sales. So the conditions of the variance would apply to the new license, and they would take some portion of the 5 cars, I guess,
Correct.
and sell them. So in your opinion, there's no expansion of the scope of the variance related to this?
No, because quite honestly, Sharon, I don't think you have the commission. You have a lot of power. The commission doesn't have the power.
Not really.
The commission doesn't have the power to expand on the variance. I mean, they
Of course
don't.
not. I agree with that. They do not. I'm just making sure that we all understand that this is the location approval issued by the zoning commission, and the zoning board of appeals variance still applies
That's correct.
under any of these scenarios.
Absolutely correct. And again, the only way to get around that would be to go back and get a new variance, and we have no intention of doing that at this point.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back again. I think this is where I ask for any more questions. I got YouTube running in the background for when I get logged off of here. My computer screen says internet connection unstable. So, Ms. Hylinski.
Just out of curiosity, you had said 5 cars. Is that a total of old, new? Is it like 3 new ones and 2 old ones?
I don't think that there's a distinction between, it could be 4 old ones, 1 new one.
But it's
There's
5.
5 cars. It's 5 cars. Yeah.
The limit of 5 cars.
Right. They could only sell, whether it's used or new,
Got
a
it.
total of 5.
And that's actually, the language actually says offer for sale. It's, you know, because basically they didn't want a large showroom. They didn't want a large lot. They all had to be indoors. It was to limit it, and we're going to operate within those limits, clearly.
Thank you, Attorney Marcus. Anything else from any commissioners at this time? Thank you, Attorney Marcus.
Thanks, Mr. Habb. Glad you
Anything
rejoined us.
else from
By
any
the way,
commissioners?
in your absence,
Anyone
Mr.
else
Haddad, we took up a collection. for
Anyone
you.
else wishing to speak in?
Ask that again, Commissioner Haddad.
Yeah, please.
We're gonna lose it.
Ted, can you hear us? Ricky, you want to take this? Oh, there he comes.
I'm back again. I'm in a bad area here. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition?
Commissioner Haddad, I'd like to speak in opposition.
It's Councilman Chianese, Commissioner. Haddad.
Chianese, yes. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, I've been around this area for close almost 45 years. And for those who probably remember the issues that happened on Myrie Brook Road between the residents and expansion of businesses. I think the RO zone was created to keep businesses and residents at peace. You know, while this application on the surface looks to be innocent, and I don't oppose necessarily for the sale of used or new cars, but what it is that the commission has to be very careful for what this can actually lead to the expansion of selling new cars in a dealerships type scenario. We had an application just previously that has been withdrawn to allow certain dealerships and new car sales in it, and which was withdrawn. And I think there's an application further down on your agenda to expand the sale used cars on their lots as well. So as you look at it, it seems like the RO zone is kind of getting squeezed out here. You got at one end and another end, you got car dealerships, and then you got this residential piece on the inside. It's the road itself lends to not a lot of traffic. It's a small road. It's a very windy road, especially where this location is. So having a very expensive sports car run up and down the road for a test spin is not an ideal situation for the road. And also the bridge there, in case there's going to be a car carrier, where these cars got to be carried out or in, I don't know. So that has to be at least to be considered when you approve any additional uses to this property. It's just where it starts small, but it can end up being way out of control. And it may not be this year or next year, but it always starts small and innocent, and it always ends up being something that's uncontrollable. So at this point, I just can't support the application for the additional use. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Chianese. Any commission members, any questions of Councilman Chianese at this time? Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Attorney Marcus, any further comments?
Just if I can, Mr. Chairman, to Ben Chianese. Hey, Ben, I understand your concern, but I really don't think that these cars are going to get tested as if they're on the racetrack on Myrie Brook Road, honestly. But it's interesting, a number of cars that are serviced at SST, and these are all very high-end performance vehicles. They've been there for years now, and to my knowledge, there's been absolutely no history of any motor vehicle accidents involving any of these expensive high-performance cars. You know, I don't foresee that that's going to be a problem. I mean, in reality, Josh Weeks, you know, a couple hundred yards down the road, has a facility where people bring in some very high performance cars. And that's been going on. And before that, you had Highcroft Racing in that building. I mean, I understand what you're saying is that Myrie Brook Road is not a great road to try to exceed the speed limit while you're test driving a car. But in reality, these cars, you know, people will, if they do test drive them from the facility, get in the car, probably drive up to Interstate 84 and then go out and drive the car, or maybe down on Route 7. But I really don't foresee, and again, the number of vehicles that are going to be sold in a given year, we're talking about a handful. I mean, it's just such a limited boutique market. So I understand what you're saying, that that if the facility is allowed to sell new cars, but again, I don't distinguish between the used cars, which are all performance cars, or for that matter, the other facilities in the neighborhood. I agree with you that Myrie Brook Road is windy, and you can't drive it without being aware of it. But on the other hand, I just don't see that there's a huge issue that's going to happen. Between you and me, whenever I've gotten into a new car to test drive it, I'm so cautious when I leave the dealer that sometimes the salesman will tell me that I really have to get out of first gear every once in a while. But I don't see that as a huge problem. But the fact that you brought it up, I will certainly make my client aware of it, and will respect the fact that's a concern. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, may I have a question to Attorney Marcus?
Yes, Mr. Malillo, please.
Attorney Marcus, I have a question. I remember the controversy over this original SST, the whole process of it. I'm not gonna bring the whole thing up, but I want to ask, do you remember, or did you check the actual location approval? It seems to me as though we did condition the initial approval that they could not do any test drives through the neighborhood up around there. They had to do the test drive either down Myrie Brook Road or on 84. Do you remember, or do you know if that is currently on the location approval?
The answer to that is, I don't recall it, Bob. I have a copy of that here, I think. But let me see if I can find it. I don't recall. I've got here a copy of the actual form for the motor vehicle department that was signed by Ted Haddad, by Dave Newland, and by
That was
Tim
this year, though.
Smith.
That's this year.
No, this one would have been signed by me. I was chairman at the time.
Yeah, what year was that? Neil, when was it originally approved? I'll
The
pull
one
the
I'm
minutes.
looking at here is dated 1/9.
No, that
20.
was just when the new owners took over this year. That's
Oh,
what you include.
okay, I haven't seen the old one. I don't.
Okay,
Uh,
I want to say that we did limit, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we limited the test drive that you could not go through the neighborhood because that was one of the big concerns at the time.
I'm looking back here for a second. There was an application for the original certificate of approval, but that was, yeah, for the used car, that's in 2014, February 12th of 2000, February 2nd, 2014. That's the application. I don't know, Bob, whether I actually got a copy of that actual certificate. I don't think I do.
Okay. We can always condition that again if we needed to.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think that's, you know, that's a fair condition. That's not gonna be a problem.
That's all from me, Commissioner Haddad. I think we lost him again.
We did.
Mr. Jowdy, you want to ask if there's any other questions for Attorney Marcus?
Commission members, any other questions for Attorney Marcus?
No.
Mr.
Okay,
Jowdy,
yes,
Jowdy, at this time, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
so moved. Do I hear a second?
Second,
Angie, okay.
Who seconded?
Angie.
Angie?
Angie
Okay.
did.
Close the hearing, okay.
Okay, public hearing is
No,
closed.
Mr. Jowdy, you need to ask for discussion and then just call for the vote.
Okay, any discussion on this, commission members? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Any noes? Public hearing is closed.
Mr. Jowdy, I'd like to make a motion to move this to item number 1 under old business for discussion and possible action.
So moved.
No, you have to ask for a second.
Do I hear a second on that?
I think Mr. Kelly is seconding.
Commissioner Kelly, seconds? Okay, it's moved.
Discussion. Mr. Jowdy, discussion and
Any
vote.
discussion? Okay, do I hear a vote for that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No? Any nays?
Okay.
Okay, approved. Okay, it moved to old business. Okay,
Yeah, so now, Mr. Jowdy, you can move us on to public hearing number 2. This would be the application of North American Motor Car, 32 Myrie Brook Road, F19017 for a certificate of approval for location for a general repairs license in the IL 40 zone. For your record, it's already been read into the notice. So at this point, Mr. Jowdy, if you just want to ask if there's anybody wishing to speak in favor of this petition.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor for this petition?
I'm here, Mike Kozlowski, with Claris Construction, representing the applicant, Black Wolf Properties, doing business as North American Motor Car at 32 Myrie Brook Road. I do have a site plan that I can share and also a rendering for reference if you'd like me to. I just have to share the screen.
Yep, hold on one sec. Go ahead.
Okay. Everyone can see the screen?
We don't see anything yet, just it's a black screen.
Trying to get there, but not now.
It's trying to get there. It's working.
No, internet is very bad tonight.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Okay. So the proposed drawing here, as submitted by Civil One Engineering from Woodbury, Connecticut, was submitted to the city of Danbury in early 2000. It was an over-the-counter approval for planning and zoning approval. It has gone through all the departments: engineering, fire department, traffic. We have addressed all the concerns, and the FAA as well. We have addressed all the concerns, and we have conditional approval. The one item still left is a fire flow, and we're hoping to have the fire flow analysis done by the end of next week. The application here is for the two buildings you see. The front building is a service department for collector cars, as Attorney Marcus was just talking about. I find it ironic that this is what we're trying to put here, is a facility that can store cars as well as restore them as well. So the front building will be the restoration building, as we call it. There will be a small body shop in there. There will be a small mechanic shop, an upholstery shop, and a parts department, as well as offices. The rear building you see here behind is for classic car storage. The owners of the project have a large, extensive collection themselves, and they are planning on not only storing their cars there, but offering to lease space, parking spaces within that building for other car collectors in the area. There's no particular type. It's not a supercar type thing. It's, you want to pay money to store your car because you don't have room in your property to do so, you can do here in the back building. But for now, we are focused on the license, the ability to obtain the right to get a license to restore the vehicles in this front building. Their business model is as such: if you have a car that you own or you are purchased, they will bring you in, discuss your restoration plans, and then act upon them no matter what your budget is. So a car restoration could take anywhere from up to a month to a year, and there's internal storage in the building to keep all the parts inside. The parking spots you see here would strictly be for what we needed for planning and zoning purposes for the employees. There will be no vehicle storage in the exterior of the building. Much like the previous application, a lot of these cars are of high value and will be treated as such with pretty much white glove service. Will be stored when they're being worked on in the restoration building and not being worked on in the storage area. I am going to just quickly show you the front rendering. I think that'll be helpful to see what we are proposing on the street for Myrie Brook. When you see it, please let me know. Taking a second.
Okay.
So the front facade of this building, the owner of the business is his collection is made up majority of mid-century kind of muscle car types, Cadillacs. So he wanted to harken back to the old kind of service station, even though there's no gasoline or anything being dispensed here, but wanted to have that kind of aesthetic. And that is what we were doing here. It's the old Cooper Mulch property. So that's kind of architecturally what we did at Claris Construction to develop this project. There's no sale of vehicles here, just to kind of, going back to the previous application. It's strictly, you bring your car there to get work done. It's a high-end operation. They're going to be possibly working on maybe 5 different cars at a time. But like I said, they take about a month to a year to accomplish the restoration. That is pretty much the business model in a nutshell. They have about 8 to 10 employees. They're hoping to grow from that up to 10 to 20. So they're very excited about creating new jobs in the Danbury area. As far as the restoration portion of the project, is there any questions regarding their operation?
Commission members, any questions?
Mr. Jowdy, I have one question.
Go ahead.
Well, Mike, I have one question for you, because you had just got done listening us to about a auto sales thing. Is it your applicant's understanding is the fact that the IL-40 does not allow auto sales? So that was a unusual circumstance with the other petition. That's ironic. That's the same road tonight, but under our zoning regulations, you would not be allowed to sell auto. Not that you intend to, but you do understand that it wouldn't be allowed anyway.
They are 100% aware. That was one of the first things that we talked about in our first meeting. As Claris Construction, we do a lot of car dealerships. You mentioned Colonial Subaru earlier. We've built a lot of them in Danbury. We're finishing up Colonial Mazda now. They are very much aware that they are not allowed to sell vehicles there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, commission members?
Mr. Chairman, hey, Mike, could you just spell your last name for the record so Joanne?
No problem. It's Kozlowski, Kozowski.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, hearing no questions. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Hearing none. Anyone looking to speak against this petition?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak.
Okay.
Do I got the floor?
Councilman Shanisi, go ahead.
Thank you. My name for the record is Benjamin Chanese, and I'm the councilman representing the 6th Ward in Danbury. I reside at 5 Briar Ridge Road in Danbury. Again, my objection is pretty much the same objection that occurred to the previous application. While this application itself does not warrant sale of new or used cars, but just the actual design of the building that he showed us kind of leads us to that's going to be their ultimate intention, because you're not really going to want to build a 20,000 square foot restoration shop or a 32,000 storage area shop without having any future plans as you go forward. Again, Murray Brook is a small, windy road. As you can see, it's going to be pillared by 2 fairly large automobile restoration locations. And in the middle, you've got this RO zone, which was designed to keep exactly what's happening to the left and to the right of it. Back in probably mid-1990s, 1995, when Contact System went in there, and when the truck stop went in there, the neighbors went berserk and saying all this noise, which led to the RO zone. Commissioner Haddad, I think Commissioner Jowdy might have remembered the many long meetings we had regarding that zone, because I think I was on the zoning at that time as well. Again, Murray Brook is just not designed for this type of development. And, I don't recall that this application went in front of planning. Maybe Sharon could alleviate on that. I don't recall this coming in front of the Planning Commission for any type of site approval, because if you looked at the actual plans, you got retaining walls, you got a lot of development they're going to have to do to put these 2 buildings in there. And it's a big project. It may look easy on paper, and it may be just for storage of high-end vehicles. But I'm sorry, I don't see that 5 years down the road where they're gonna go right in front of the ZBA, and ZBA is gonna grant them a hardship, because basically that's what they did with the other application. They came in front of ZBA with a hardship and it was granted. So you really gotta look down the road, say what else can be done with this property that's outside of your control. Because once you approve this, you're done. And you're gonna pass it on to another commission, whether it be the planning commission or the ZBA or even EIC, who's gonna have to pick up the ball for something here. I think this really should be looked at carefully before this is approved, because this could just lead to a Pandora box to other applications along that side. You got the Foley piece next to it. That's pretty much an empty lot. You got properties across the street that could be easily developed. You got the old Topstone place on the corner. It's this itching for development. And as Neil Marcus said before, you know, this is becoming a niche of having high-end storage vehicles. And I don't know if Myrie Brook wants to be known for the high-end storage vehicles as the city of Danbury, because that's what's happening. And you know, the cat's going to be out of the box, and this is just the second bite at the apple. And it's, again, I just can't approve it. Thank you.
Commission members, I would like to say that Ben Chinese is speaking, not as a councilman, but just as a concerned citizen on this application. Thank you.
Mr. Jackson, Mr. Haddad has returned.
Commissioner Haddad, you all set?
You're muted, Mr. Haddad.
There he is.
I'm not set up yet. I just ran out to the hallway and grabbed somebody's Chromebook. I have no idea what I'm doing here.
Okay.
I don't see anything. I don't even know if you could see me.
Mr. Jowdy, why don't you ask then if there's anybody else wishing to speak in opposition?
How about
Is there
Sharon?
anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this petition?
Commissioner, can I have a point of order if I can?
Sure.
Since Commissioner Haddad was out of the conversation, is he eligible to vote on this application? Since he didn't hear it?
I have it on YouTube. I'm watching it on YouTube. I heard all your comments. I heard everybody's comments.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Haddad.
I can't get a visual on the screen.
We can
But I have it running on YouTube in the background here.
Yeah. We can actually see you, Mr. Haddad.
Okay.
I can.
Mr. Jowdy, could I just make a comment? So just for the record, the application was approved by the department in June of this year. The uses that are permitted uses in the zone, and that does not require, in that case, it does not require the application to have gone to the planning commission for any type of hearing. So the site, it's an administrative review process and approval process through the department, and we coordinate all the department comments. And so what the application and all the plans were circulated to all the departments, reviewed, and comments addressed and or conditions added to the approval. So again, that was issued in June by the Deputy Planning Director, Jennifer Eminger, and I think you all have a copy of that.
Okay, so upon the vote, all we need is the majority, correct?
Yes.
That has nothing, actually has no bearing on, no, that has no bearing on the way you have to vote. I'm just telling you for the record, it did get approval. The site plan was approved by the department.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you're right, Mr. Jowdy. This is a simple 5-member vote to approve.
Correct. You just need a
Correct.
simple majority.
Okay.
So Mr. Jowdy, you want to give the applicant rebuttal comments?
Any rebuttal, applicant?
I do want to say that working with the traffic engineer in the city, we did, you know, I understand that Myrie Brook Road is a windy road. We did work on getting sightline easements for the city of Danbury from our neighbors across the street from Mr. Batista at 27 Myrie Brook Road. It was part of our application. It was a condition of our approval. It will take it's not so, and we also have given the city of Danbury easements to widen the road there from our property. So we were working on potential traffic issues that could happen there. And it's most of our traffic is coming from the Route 7 area. And that was the reason why we wanted to get the sightline easement from our neighbor across the street.
Thank you. Mr. Karowski, correct?
Kozlowski, yes.
Karowski, okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions? Is there anyone wishing to make a motion to close the public hearing?
Mr. Jowdy, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Any Commissioner, he seconds it. Okay. All those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Mr.
Public hearing
Jowdy,
is closed.
Mr. Jowdy, I'll make a
Yes.
motion to move this to item number 2 under old business for discussion and possible action.
Do I hear a second on that?
Second.
Who said that?
Candace, Bay.
Candace, okay. Thanks, Candace. Hearing a second, I'd like to put that to a vote. Everyone to move this to number 2 under old business?
So Ed's on twice, so he's feedbacking. Thank you, Sharon.
Took care of him. Sorry, Ted.
Okay.
Mr. Haddad, you were mute. I think you're logged in here twice, so your computer was feedbacking on you. The microphone was feedbacking on you.
His lips are moving.
Yes.
If I was one of my nephews or nieces, I'd have it all figured out. Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Jowdy, we're voting on moving this to item number 2 under old business.
Ricky, got unmute.
Who made the motion to move it to old business?
Yeah, so Mr. Haddad, I made a motion. It was seconded by Candace. All you need to do is call for the vote.
All in favor of moving this to number 2 on the business, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Hearing no opposition, this will be number 2 under old business. And number 2 under old business will be 32 Marybrook Road. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. It looks like that's the end of our public hearing for tonight. Let me just mention for anybody that signed on that the petition of BRT Sconset LLC to add section 4.1 of the zoning 4I to the zoning regulations has been withdrawn this evening. That was to create an active adult residential floating zone. Actually, the letter of withdrawal was on my other computer that crashed. Ms. Calitro, can you read that letter in for me, please?
Sure, hold on 1 second.
Thank you.
It received today, July 28th, to Ted Haddad Jr., Chairman, Danbury Zoning Commission, 155 Deer Hill Avenue, Danbury, Connecticut. Petition of BRT Sconset LLC to add section 4I to the zoning regulations. Dear Chairman Haddad, as you know, this office represents the petitioner in the above referenced matter, which is scheduled for a continued public hearing on your agenda of July 28th, 2020. My client has spent a considerable amount of time following up on the comments that have been made by the planning staff, the speakers from the public, and the questions raised by the commission members at the first session of the public hearing. We believe that the issues can be addressed with modifications that may significantly alter the pending application. At this point, it makes more sense to withdraw the pending application and move forward with a submission of a new petition to deal with the creation of an active adult active adult housing in the city of Danbury. There have been a number of discussions with city leadership in giving consideration to the developments currently in progress and planned for the future of the city by my client. The decision has been made that the above referenced application is withdrawn. I would like to take the opportunity to thank you and the members of the Zoning Commission for your time and effort in reviewing the petition to date. We look forward to working with you as the new plan moves forward through the process. With my usual regards, yours truly, Neil R. Marcus.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm assuming I'm on now and you can hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank God. Okay, commission members, let's just jump right over to number 1 under old business and possible action. That was the petition heard this evening. 52 Myra Brook Road, application of SST Motor Cars LLC, 52 Myra Brook Road, F19049, for a certificate of approval of location for an upgrade from used motor vehicle dealer's license to new motor vehicle dealer's license in the IL40 zone for variance granted by Zoning Board of Appeals on April 11, 2013. Public hearing was open July 28, 2020, closed July 28, 2020, and was moved to old business for discussion and possible action. Commission members?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Melillo.
I would like to make a motion to approve for the reason that this use has been granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals per the decision of April 11th, 2013. I would like to add the following stipulations. No more than 5 vehicles may be offered for sale at any time. Any for sale vehicles must be stored within the building, inside the building. No additional lighting can be installed. No signs related to auto sales can be installed. No test drive may be taken through the surrounding neighborhoods. And then any other condition that is currently on the location approval from our last approval for used cars, I would like them to remain. And this is to go into effect in accordance with the governor's executive order.
I'm sorry, what was that last sentence you said?
Any other stipulation that's currently in effect on the used car license that I can't remember is still in effect.
Thank you very much. Actually, your conditions were, I got cut off before. I did recall that when you were talking about, you recall the test driving and some of those other conditions. And I see that you took it right off the 2013 variance. So,
Yes.
Commission members, there's a motion by Commissioner Melillo with conditions and reasons. Is there a second? I don't see any hands raised. Did anybody click any hands raised?
Oh, Angie.
I'll second.
There's a second by Commissioner Hylinski. Any discussion? Again, motion made by Mr. Melillo with reasons and conditions, seconded by Ms. Hylinski. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Isn't this normally a roll call vote?
I was just going to wait to see if there were any no's. But yes, we can do roll call. I was taking a shortcut because I didn't know I'd crash again. So a yes is yes, a no is no. Commissioner Almeida,
Yes.
Commissioner Fay,
Yes.
Commissioner Hawley,
Yes.
Commissioner Hylinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Jowdy,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
He's muted.
Where is
Commissioner Kelly, yes.
Commissioner Kelly, put your thumb up for a yes.
There you go. We got it.
Commissioner Kelly votes yes. Commissioner Murchan,
Yes.
Commissioner Melillo,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. That looks to me like we got nine here. Is that correct? 9-0?
Yes.
9-0, that passes. Thank you, Commissioner members. Good luck. 52 Myra Brook Road. The second petition this evening is a petition of
Thank you, Mr.
application
Chairman.
North American.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
Mr.
night.
Mark.
The second petition was by application North American Motor Car, 32 Myra Brook Road, F19017 for certificate of auto approval of location for general repairs license in the IL40 zone. Let the record show that that was open on July 28, 2020. It was closed, and by motion it was accepted. It was moved to number 2 under old business for discussion, possible action. Commission members, any
Mr. Chairman.
comments? Yes,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Malillo.
I'll make a motion to approve this petition in that the use is allowed in the zone. It will not have a detrimental impact in the neighborhood, and it will not incur a interfere with the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. And I would like to add a stipulation that there is no outside storage of any vehicles.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Malillo. Is there a second? Is there a second to Mr. Malillo's motion with
Ms.
reason?
Hylinski.
Ms. Hylinski. Any discussion? Commission members, any discussion? Do a roll call. A yes is yes, a no is no. Mr. Almeida,
Yes.
Ms. Fay,
Yes.
Mr. Malillo,
Yes.
Ms. Hylinski,
Yes.
Mr. Hawley,
Yes.
Mr. Marchand,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Kelly, you can give a thumbs up for a yes.
I will vote yes. Mr. Jowdy.
Yes.
Forgot about it. Yes. There you go. Got 9-0 again. This is approved.
Thank you very much.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
to you. Under new business, petition from Sugar Hollow Land Development. That's the one that was withdrawn earlier. This is the new July submission. Sugar Hollow Land Development LLC to amend section 6A2B and 6A5 of the zoning regulations in parentheses, add sale, rental, and repair of automobiles and trucks to the IL40 zone as a special exception use. A public hearing is scheduled for September 8th, 2020. And again, I will also state that this date is subject to change depending on circumstances related to COVID-19. Second petition is of Maine Crosby LLC.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, Joanne.
We changed
This
the
is Reed.
date on the second petition to August 11th. Will be doing it on
I'm sorry?
The public hearing date on the mothership liquor permit is August 11th. Our next meeting will be doing that. It's listed as September 8th.
Oh, it says September 8th on it. That's going to be August 11th?
Yes.
The second one under new business is a petition Maine Crosby LLC, Mothership Bakery LLC, 331 Main Street, I-13036, for special permit for restaurant liquor license. Public hearing is scheduled for August 11th, 2020. This date is subject to change depending on circumstances related to COVID-19. Is that correct, Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. There's no other correspondence?
We need a
Anything
motion
clear?
on the Sugar Hollow one to refer it to the Planning Commission and whoever else.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to receive that petition and refer to the Planning Commission and anybody else that needs to be notified, as well as having it filed in the town clerk's office and any other stipulations required in the governor's executive order.
Thank you, Mr. Malone. Is there a second? Ms. Fay,
Sydney.
any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. All those opposed? I got you on there, Ms. Fay. I saw your hand up on the other two. I figured I'd throw one to you.
I was waiting for the adjournment one.
Okay, also, I'll entertain a motion on a petition of Maine Crosby LLC, Mr. Malillo.
We don't need to. That's administrative only, Mr. Haddad.
Oh, yeah. Boy, we're doing good tonight. All right. There's no additional correspondence. What else am I missing since I missed most of this?
Other
I
matters.
believe Commissioner Fay has a motion.
Are there any other matters? Any other matters? Commission Member Fay, is there a motion
I
to
would like-
adjourn?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mr.
Is there a
Chairman.
Second.
I'll second.
Second, Mr.
Sydney.
Almeida, any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. All those
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. This public hearing is closed. Thank you. Sorry for all of my trouble on my end.